What's up, YouTube? So today I'm in the kitchen and I am going to be making laundry soap. It is something that Lance and I've talked about doing for a while now, and we don't like all the chemicals and things that come in our laundry detergent. Plus, it's cheaper in the long run to be able to make our own. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to show you some of the tools that you can use to make laundry soap. You don't have to have all of the gadgets. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing that you buy tons of different equipment for. And it's really simple. Alright, so for starters, let's talk about the ingredients that go into making your laundry soap. You don't have to put all of these things in your laundry soap, and you can put more things in your laundry soap. A lot of the things that I'll be using to make our laundry soap actually go back to the 1800s, and you can see that on the boxes when you go to the store to buy them. So the first thing that we'll be using is borax, baking soda, super soda wash, some Oxi Clean. You can buy these containers at pretty much any store, by the way. I got all of our ingredients between Menards and Walmart, just because that's happened to be where I was at when I was buying the stuff. But you can buy things like Oxi Clean even at Dollar Tree. And I believe they also sell borax and a lot of these things, so it doesn't have to be expensive. For the actual soap process that washes your clothes, we do have a bar of Fels Naphtha. So you do need a couple of bars of this. This does smell really good, and it's what actually kind of transfers some of the scent to your clothing. Another bar that you can use for soap is something called Zote. It does come in just the white package. It also comes in a pink package. After looking at both of them, the only difference between the two is that the pink one has a dye in it to make it pink. This is a little bit bigger bar than the other bar that we'll be using too. I'm going to use a combination today of these two bars. The cool thing about Zote is that it is citronella scented. And so if you live in an area like we do in Minnesota, you can use this in your laundry detergent and it makes your clothes mosquito repellent. We do have a lot of mosquitoes, and that's one of the things that keeps us from working in our garden in the summer, is the mosquitoes are so bad that I cannot stand it. They'll be swarming and I just can't take it. So that's going to help, in addition to, we do also make our own bug spray. Some of the tools that you may want to use for this, you can go as simple as a regular cheese grater, or if you have like a food processor, there is an attachment on this particular food processor that does have the grater, which is what I'll be using today. So that is something that you can use too. Once I have all of the soap ground up, or shredded I should say, I will be using a blender. I just have a Hamilton Beach blender, same thing that I would use to make sauces and different things or smoothies, but this will get the soap that we shred down to a finer grade so that it doesn't leave residue on our clothes. It also makes it more consistent with the consistency of all of the other things that we'll be putting into our detergent, so that it doesn't look like there's just weird soap wheels in there or cheese that's been grated up into your laundry soap. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to do this on the tabletop so that you can see what I'm doing. So I've got the bar of the, we'll call it FN stuff, and I'm just going to see how this food processor does to see if I like it or not. I may end up switching over to the cheese grater instead. But let's go ahead and get this going and see how it goes. I had a little piece that didn't get ground. We can set that aside. And I'm actually really impressed with the consistency that happened here. So you can see it's just ground up like cheese. I am going to take this and I'm actually going to put it into a bowl that I'm going to use to mix everything in. And then once we get everything done, we'll put it through the blender to get everything the same consistency. I'm going to pull this out. To clean your mixer, you can just use hot soapy water. I don't recommend running this through the dishwasher just because it does have that soap in there, and so the film could get all over your dishwasher. So it's just easier just to use hot soapy water to clean this up. Oh shoot, the other thing I just realized I forgot, because I'm on video so it makes it easy to forget, is we need to also add, I'm going to add just a half a bar of Zote for this particular recipe. I'm actually taking a different recipe and cutting it in half because we really don't need that much laundry soap for 2 people. I'm also going to go ahead and grab the food processor again, and I'm going to take half of this bar and add it to our other soap that's in here. So I am just going to eyeball it. And I don't think that with this particular recipe you really need to worry about being super precise in your measurements, just because it's really soap. And it's going to mix itself anyway. So I'm just cutting this down into smaller pieces so that we can fit it into our food processor. And I'm going to go ahead and grab our food processor so that we can get that going. Alright. I am going to be running this through through the blender later, so I'm not going to worry about some of these littler pieces. But I don't want to take the huge chunks that didn't get ground up. And I'm just going to take this stuff and get this out of the way. And I'm going to dump this in with the other soap that we have. If I can, it goes the other way. So I'm going to clean up this mess, and then I'll be right back with the rest of our stuff. Okay, so next up, now that we've got our soap all ground up in here, I'm probably going to end up using a 5-gallon bucket. I don't think this bowl is going to be big enough once we get everything kind of added in. In fact, I might just go ahead and transfer it to the bucket now, and then that way I can measure my other ingredients, and it's not that big of a deal. Next, I'm going to go ahead and we'll start with borax, and I'm going to use a half a box. I am just going to kind of eyeball it, and I think I'm just going to dump it right into our bucket. And I'm going to bring you guys up so that you can see that better. Alright, so I'm going to just eyeball half a box of borax. So the next thing I'm going to add is our soda wash. For the soda wash, I'm going to be adding, again, a half a box of this. It's a half of a 55-ounce box. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up. And we're going to go for half. And that's about half. And the next thing is going to be our baking soda. And I'm going to measure out of this box 2 cups of baking soda. So we've added the borax, we've added the soda wash, and now we've added our baking soda. And the last thing that I'm going to add, which is totally optional actually for this recipe, is some Oxi Clean, just to boost the abilities of the laundry detergent. Again, you don't have to use this. I'm just using it today to try it out. I actually have never really used much of this, but I've heard that it does really good things. So for this particular recipe, I'm going to use about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of this Oxi Clean. So I'm not going to be super precise in measuring. Oops, there's a little coupon-y thing or something in there. And that should be good. So that's all of our ingredients in our soap. Now the next thing is to kind of get everything kind of mixed up and incorporated. And to do that, I'm going to just mix it lightly with a spoon. But then I'm also going to stick it through the blender so that we can get those big chunks all blended up. And honestly, so at this point, a lot of people wouldn't stick it through the blender. You can use it like this, but I wouldn't recommend it just because it does leave residue on your clothes if the soap doesn't get rinsed really good. And I just feel like the particles kind of settle out and stuff, and it just doesn't make for a very cohesive blend. I'm going to grab our blender, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got our blender. I'm going to actually, once it's blended up, I'm going to put it into this bowl and just transfer it in. And I've got our bucket of soap. It's over here. I'm just going to use a measuring cup just to kind of scoop it. I'm not really measuring, but just to kind of get it scooped up so that we can put it into our blender. And I feel like I'm going to make a big old mess here, so let's just bring this over here too. I'm probably just going to do that much at a time. I don't know how much I should really do at a time. But we'll give this a shot and see how it goes. Alright. So that's pretty good. Now you can see in here that it's pretty well all incorporated and we don't see the other soap that's in there. And so I'm just going to go ahead and dump this into our bowl. And I'm going to keep mixing. I'm going to actually not put quite as much in there as I did the first time. So I'm just going to do this slowly and keep going, and then we'll see how the finished product is and how much we end up with. Alright guys, so I've got all of our soap blended up. I did measure this, and it equates to about 14 cups of laundry detergent. Quarter cup on average of laundry detergent per load gives us a total of about 56 loads. To get our 14 cups of laundry detergent that we made today, if you use the Oxi Clean, which is optional, about $8.75 to do about 56 loads. And that really could be a lot cheaper. If you didn't use the Oxi Clean, we'd be looking at like $6.75 roughly. And that's without finding anything on a discount or cheaper. You can get these things a lot cheaper. Actually, I bought them in smaller sizes, which always there's a markup because you're paying for the extra packaging. So there we have it. We have a little over $8. This is going to be enough laundry soap for Lance and I for probably close to 6 months. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today here in the kitchen. I hope you learned something, and maybe someday you'll want to make your own laundry soap. If you did like today's video, please go ahead and hit the like button. Also, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified whenever Lance or I post another video. Hope you have a great day. See you in the next video.